As we continue our World Cup programming, maybe you have a future World Cup star at home, but before they hit the global pitch, they need to make it out of the classroom, first of all, and that's so important. But schoolwork on top of athletics, well, if you're a parent, you know how busy those students can be and how busy you can be, too. And now there's data to back that up as well. 30% of student athletes feel overwhelmed by their commitments. Student athletes spend an average of 38.5 hours per week on academics. That's a full-time job. These stats all from a recent Wi-Fi talents survey. So let's bring in an expert to help find that balance between study hall and the locker room. And joining us this morning, CEO and founder of Amore Learning, Chloe Kaplan, with some simple strategies.
Good morning.
It is quite the balance, isn't it? Trying to find that.
It's quite a balance. It's quite a balance. And I think a lot of people look at this as a competition between schoolwork and sports. And it doesn't have to be. There's really a lot of crossover there. Sports can build teamwork and critical thinking skills, and school can build all, similar things. But the thing is that I really want to emphasize, when you are looking at your child, look at their behavior, not at their calendar. So if you look at the calendar that's like school and the academics, 38 hours a week of academic works, and then the sports, it can feel very overwhelming. But if you look at your kid and your kid is fine and they're relaxed and they're handling it, that's great. That's what you're looking at.
You mentioned the calendar, and a lot of times, you'll write down all those schedules on the calendar, and they fill up quickly.
Really quickly.
A lot of kids want to do it all.
Yes.
Right? And they try to do it all.
Yep.
How do you, as a parent, know when it's just overscheduled, when it's too much?
Overscheduled. So again, I think looking at your child's behavior, encouraging open communication, like, hey, if you're feeling stressed out by this, please tell us. We're here to support you. We know that you love this sport, and we're here to help you thrive in that sport and pursue your passion, but also we want you to be a happy kid and enjoy what you're learning in the classroom and your friends on the field. And so, and I also really encourage conversations with teachers and coaches, and connecting teachers and coaches as well.
What are some of the mistakes that families make when it comes to maybe not managing that balance properly?
That's a great question. I think the mistake would be ignoring your child's behavior and what they're telling you. So if your child is psyched to wake up every morning and go to an early morning practice or get to school early, of course, it also depends on the age of your child, right? Like, are we talking about elementary school students that are just getting on the field, or are we talking about older students who are possibly looking into colleges and getting scholarships? But really, the biggest mistake would be ignoring signs from your kid and signs from your kid's coach or teacher.
You mentioned earlier that they can complement each other, right? The athletics and the academics can work together.
Exactly.
How do you get that message, I guess, across to the kids? Because, some kids, it might be the academics that stress them out, and they're fine on the field, right?
Exactly.
And then for others, they might be a good student, and they want to be in athletics, but maybe they're not the best athlete, and now they're struggling one versus the other.
Exactly. Or a lot of athletic pressure comes from a parent who has possibly excelled in the sport and wants their kid to do the same. I really encourage speaking candidly with your child's teacher, speaking candidly with your child's coach, and allowing them to have conversations between the two. So if a child is struggling in academics, connect the teacher to the coach and say, hey, I'm noticing that the kid is really enjoying the sport, but they're struggling in the classroom. So how can we make up that classroom work and make sure they love the sport and they love learning within the classroom at the same time? It's all about love of learning, and they're both teaching such valuable life skills.
And again, it all comes down to the age of the student and where they are. But in athletics these days, you see more and more. You see the travel teams in addition to the school teams, and it's year-round, and it's weekends, and it's everything, right?
Yeah.
So what are your thoughts, and again, this will depend on the age level, of having the child have a little more say over the schedule, right? I mean, some things you can't say, I'm not going to go to practice, right? Because you have to.
You have to, exactly.
But what are your thoughts on their input into how that schedule is created?
I think it's essential. I think involving your child in the decision to play a sport, be responsible for their equipment in the sport, and again, depending on the age, for a little kid, let's say a kindergartner who's just starting out with soccer, maybe they're going to the World Cup one day, but they're just getting started, they could be in charge of their water bottle. The parent's carrying the equipment, but you don't want to be a parent like a manager. Like, the kids should be involved in the process. So if they're responsible for bringing their water bottle onto the field, they're doing this, they have their one job, and then it can grow as the child grows.
And this could be a question and a conversation for another day, but when you talk about the two worlds colliding, the discipline from the sports field,
yes,
that carries over to the academic classroom as well?
Absolutely. Yes, I think they both really work with one another. But like you said, a kid can love a classroom and not the field as much, and vice versa. And the goal is really to get them to enjoy both while teaching discipline and teamwork. If they don't want to show up to a practice because they're tired from homework, explaining to them that part of being on a team is showing up to practices for your teammates. They're so ripe for life skills in both domains.
Right.
They really work together.
And it starts with the family, which is the ultimate team, right?
Exactly.
So that's where the teamwork comes together.
Can't beat that team.
Where can we learn more about Amore?
AmoreLearning.com, Amore Learning on Instagram, and I am Chloe Kap. I love hearing from you all, so keep the questions coming.
All right, Chloe, thank you very much for joining us once again. Appreciate it, and good luck to everybody with your young athletes. And before we go to break,